Alright, boys, we have actual basketball games to talk about. I would like to think this will not be the only overreacting to the preseason video, and I would like to also do an overreacting to the rookies in preseason, although I'll probably let that one cook for a little bit longer, but, so far, SARS had 15 points, Dillingham and Shannon have both played for the Wolves. Anyway, we are going to go right to the new Knicks. We got Cat, we got McHale, we got OG, we got everybody here for one half against the Hornets. And we'll go off of vibes first, then we'll go to the specifics. I think the Knicks have the framework for how they want this whole thing to look between spacing and actions they run with Cat and everything. However, it's going to need more time in the oven because you could tell the timing and all that just wasn't totally there. I do also think Charlotte's energy defensively was good, and we could talk about that. But yeah, look, right off rip, you saw Cat running little two-man actions with McHale or even Josh Hart early on top of the key where, they can try to get a drive off of that. You saw a number of times where it was Brunson or Josh Hart cutting off of Cat posting up. You did see a bit of Cat Brunson screen actions with an empty side, and then Charlotte would usually switch that and then double Cat if he got it in the post. And I do think Charlotte's just defensive execution of all this stuff was good. Shout out to Charles Lee. But that's the type of thing where if teams throw that at them a lot, it's like Brandon Miller ending up on Cat and stuff, then you would hope in time the Knicks have got the timing figured out to where they can just get cuts off of that, or Cat can get skips to McHale or OG for a three. Now, the other thing that the Hornets did was that they would sometimes just not guard Josh Hart, but also they put their center, which for a lot of it was Nick Richards, a little bit of Taj Gibson. Shout out Taj Gibson, still in the NBA. They had one of them on Josh Hart, and then they would put either Miles Bridges or even Brandon Miller for some on Cat. And then the counter the Knicks had to that was they had Josh Hart screen for Brunson with Cat spacing out. And so it's Cat, OG, and McHale spacing the floor, which means Brunson just has the whole middle of the floor to just be Brunson, whether that's the pull-up, whether that's the floater, whether that's just trying to snake his way to the rim and draw a foul on the big guy. It's not like they did that 15 times in a row, but whenever they did it, it was very noticeable to me. So yeah, it's cool stuff. Again, was there a sixth sense chemistry of all their screen actions and handoffs and off-ball movement together in the first half of the first time they play together in a real game? No, but the talent is there, the shot making is there. Cat already has made a deep three for them, and there's going to be a lot more of those to come. As far as the defense, unless I'm not remembering right, it felt like a more McHale on LaMelo, which also shout out to LaMelo, he's back, and more OG on Miles Bridges. And then, of course, in the flow of the game, if somebody else ends up on whoever, that's just basketball. But yeah, it felt like the framework there is OG, you get the bigger, stronger forward. McHale, you get the more quick guard. And then the last thing was, and this was something I was wondering, what's Cat going to be doing defensively? Well, in one game, he was mostly just dropping on screens. So Tibbs was not asking Cat to go super high up on screens. And I think, this is just one game. Who the hell knows what Tibbs is going to be feeling throughout the year? But my thinking is that Tibbs is saying, we got a good defender on the ball. One of OG or McHale, the one who's not on the ball, can then act as a help defender. We got Josh also as a help defender. And, as long as Cat just stays okay enough with dropping back on screens, we don't have to be super duper heavy in rotation. The Knicks bench looked good. Love Deuce, just being Deuce. Although I do still think they could use another forward because there was some minutes there where it was Achua and Jericho Sims on the court at the same time, at least in the first half. Precious banked in a three, shout out to him. As far as the Hornets, I'll be honest, bro, I don't have a lot of questions about the Hornets. It's pretty much, if LaMelo and Mark Williams are healthy, then I think they are at the least a play-in team. Trey Mann had a good game. Now let's go to the Suns and the Lakers. Both have new coaches, and JJ as well as Coach Bud both want their teams to get more threes up. You can easily find this on the internet. And in the first half of this game, which is what I'm going to stay focused on because that's when both teams played their actual teams, the Suns attempted 21 threes and the Lakers attempted 18. And stretched that out to a full game, and in the Suns' case, that would be a massive increase if they keep up that trend throughout the season. In the Lakers' case, it would be not as big, but definitely an increase. So what did the threes look like? Well, in the case of the Suns, I'm going to throw a number at you. Devin Booker last season had 2 catch-and-shoot three-point attempts per game. In the playoffs, that was down to 1 a game. In the first half of this game, he had 3. And he also could have gotten a couple more if it wasn't for dropping the ball or whatever. One of them was off of Beal being the second screener in a Tyus Jones-Mason Plumlee screen action. The other one was off of Grayson screening for KD, and then the other one was a transition one. There was one Beal corner three that basically summed up my dream thing for the Suns team, which is Devin Booker sets KD kind of like a Pacers screen, which is a go screen, brush screen, whatever. It's a quick screen, basically. And he's open middle of the floor, and then it's immediately a kick to Beal in the corner for a three. It's that right there. Book, KD, and Beal all interact on the play, and one of them gets an open catch and shoot. Beautiful. There were enough extra things as opposed to one of the big three just kind of dribbling for a year and then taking a 19-footer. Some of that stuff is still going to happen, and obviously these guys can make those types of shots, but you don't want that to happen too much. Besides that, Tyus and Monte played over 30 minutes combined, 1 turnover between the two of them. You like that. Do they risk being too small by having one of those guys out there with the big three? Yes. Now, outside of the threes, they actually didn't shoot well from the field, and I mean, whatever. It's preseason, you can do that. Now for the Lakers, so besides getting more threes up, JJ has also preached using AD as a hub, and he did have some plays out of the high post, whether they became cuts for like LeBron or Gabe Vincent or D'Lo, or one time he had a little two-man game with Reeves where AD got it back for a lob. As far as the Lakers threes, I mean, a decent chunk of them were off the dribble, which is not unheard of for like D'Lo or Reeves or LeBron or whatever. But those little extra stuff sprinkled in where like Gabe Vincent and AD are running a handoff action, which leads to a LeBron catch and shoot three. Or as a Celtics fan, I know all about the fine line between taking those quick threes to really never allow the defense to relax. But then sometimes it's like, oh, that was a really quick three that didn't go in. That didn't feel great. So I don't know. We'll see there. I've never really talked about Bronny past like little quick mentions here and there. So I'll just say, I hope the best for Bronny. It would be really cool if he could be like a real rotation piece for the Lakers. By all accounts, seems like a good dude who's just working hard. So good luck to him. Now let's talk about the Pistons and the Bucks. Mostly the Pistons. Giannis and Middleton were not playing. Did the Pistons look better with JB as the coach now and more shooting? Yes. And they were down by 20 early on in this game because mostly Dame, Brook, and then a little later on Bobby Portis just couldn't miss from three. But the Pistons fought their way back, and even before like the Bucks pulled their starters, the Pistons took the lead before halftime. And my main takeaways were I thought the defensive energy from the Pistons was way better, way more active. I thought Ivy just looked really confident and it felt like he just kind of had an anchor taken off of his back, which, yeah, he did with Monty Williams, being gone. And definitely the Pistons had some more spacing for Cade and stuff like that. Defensively, man, they had Duren higher up on screens, which did lead to him chasing like Brook or Bobby Portis on some of those threes they made, trying to guard Dame actions, but still, that's different than what it was last year where he was mostly just dropping back on stuff. And then as far as just ball pressure, especially from Ron Holland on Dame, and switching and help defense and getting kind of crazy with bringing multiple guys in, but then still just hustling hard on closeouts, including one where Cade blocked a three to end the half. All that was good stuff. I mean, they had a stretch like late second quarter where the Bucks were looking kind of overwhelmed and the Pistons more aggressive help defense. And yeah, you can get burned on that if teams are knowing that it's coming, but like seeing last year's team and then this one, just the activity defensively, like you got to be intrigued if you're a Pistons fan. And that was with Asar not even playing. And then as far as the offense, they just had more routine like pick and roll plays that became catch and shoot threes for a good shooter. Like I know that sounds basic as hell because most NBA teams do that, but the Pistons were not doing that consistently last year, right? I mean, in just the first half, you had like Beasley and Fontecchio catch and shoots off of Duren screens with Cade. You also had like Duren lobs from Cade or Ivy, looking like an NBA offense. And they didn't have Tobias, and obviously, he can help them out. And now we can go to Magic Pelicans. There were some things of note. I thought the Pelicans had kind of like a ball handler by committee thing going on, where it wasn't just like DeJounte screen actions all day. Some DeJounte, some Zion, some CJ, some Zion screening for like Herb. Like late second quarter, they finally got into some like Zion screening for DeJounte, where one time Zion got it kind of like at the free throw line and he did like his signature Zion thing, which is like bouncing and contorting his body in a way to slice through the Magic defense for a finish. B.I. as well as Trey did not play. DeJounte was able to get into his signature like pull-up two stuff a little bit. As for your center, I mean, you got Daniel Tyson, you got Yves Missi. There was a little bit of Jeremiah Robinson Earl effectively being a center, or unless you want to like consider Zion the center in that lineup. It seemed like Anthony Black made an emphasis to be more aggressive and just attack the rim when he could, whether it's transition, whether it's off the catch. He did airball a three. It's fine. Don't talk about it. And it did feel like when the starters were out there, it felt like the Magic were giving Jalen Suggs maybe like a little more opportunity to just be the lead ball handler, again, on some possessions. It's not like Paulo or Franz were not also handling it. And the first play they ran was a little like Paulo screening for Jalen Suggs action. So, okay. Now we go to Warriors, Clippers. So Kerr went with a DeAnthony Melton, Jackson Davis, Kuminga, Steph, Draymond starting five. And so you had like Melton on Harden for a good amount of the time. Draymond's helping off of like Derek Jones. Then later on, he was helping off of Kobe Brown. You got Jackson Davis in the middle there. That feels like a good defensive foundation. And then you got like GP2 coming in off the bench, and now he's guarding Harden, and Slow-Mo's in there, and he knows what to do as a team defender. Wiggins didn't play, but of course he can help them defensively. Like, to me, I feel like going for the formula of we want to be as good defensively as we can be, and then offensively, Steph, please be Steph. Like, in a perfect world, you wouldn't have to ask that of Steph at this age, but it's just probably the roster you got. Of course, if Kuminga averages like 20 a game this year or something, they would gladly take that. As far as the Moses Moody rotation situation, I don't know, man. As for the Clippers, hopefully Kawhi's healthy. Whenever he's not, it's going to be the James Harden show. And lastly, there was the Wizards and the Raptors game. I'm going to be honest, I have not seen it. I will catch up on it, I promise you. And also there was Celtics Nuggets. Russ made some passes, he made some threes, he missed a bunch of layups. Xavier Tillman's got the green light from 3.